So some fighting words coming out of the Xbox corner today as a developer who worked on Ori and the Blind Forest stated that the Xbox Scorpio is going to be a full-blown next-gen machine and not some, quote, half-assed upgrade, which the PS4 Pro is. It all started when a user asked, is Scorpio Microsoft's PS4 Pro or a new generation? I'm super confused. And then that's when the Ori developer decided to jump in and he said, quote, all consoles now are x86 PCs and the architecture will remain the same. That's why Sony was able to quickly iterate on the PS4 and make a beefier version of it. Scorpio is a next-gen machine with the added benefit that all your old games will still be compatible from this point on, similar to PCs. You'll not lose your library when you buy a next-gen system. But I guess since NeoGAF is confused, Microsoft will need to do a little work to make it clear to everybody that Scorpio isn't just a half-assed upgrade, which the PS4 Pro kinda is, but a full-blown next-gen machine that's backwards compatible with your current library. So one thing that I definitely agree with them on is that Microsoft needs to really nail down the messaging for this machine. They need to figure out who they're targeting and why people should buy it in the first place. Because if you remember, back whenever they first did the unveiling for this at E3, I mean, the messaging was just all over the place. You remember Phil Spencer stated something along the lines of, if you're a 1080p TV owner, then this really isn't for you, that it's meant for 4K users. And then they backtracked on that and they said, well, there is going to be some benefits. And so the messaging has been pretty confusing since the get-go. And it's also been sort of confusing with Sony, and they haven't really nailed down why you should upgrade, I don't believe, either. But one thing you got to keep in mind is, I mean, this is a developer who makes games for Xbox, you know, so of course you would expect him to say nice things about it. He's not going to come out and say, well, you know, the Scorpio, it's going to be half-assed like the PS4 Pro, you know, etc. Now, Xbox is expected to be a fairly large jump over the PS4 Pro, but it's also coming out a year later, and there's a lot of questions that remain about how much of an upgrade users are really going to get, because as I've stated before in the past, it may be the most powerful console on paper, but even whenever it launches, even at this point, right this moment, it's already way behind the high-end GPUs that are out today for PCs. And even on the high-end GPUs that are out today for the PC, they struggle with 4K 60 frames per second. So Microsoft still has a lot to prove in the upcoming months. And recently they've been pretty quiet, although Phil Spencer just did tweet out that he's just got through playing a game on the Scorpio and he was really happy with it. But again, would you expect him to say anything different? I mean, he's not going to come out there and say, hey, I played Scorpio today, and man, that shit was underwhelming. I didn't see any difference between that and the Xbox One. Really hope they get this shit sorted out before it hits store shelves. So, I mean, he's always going to say great things about it. He wants you to go buy this machine. But there are already some questions being raised about the tech inside the Scorpio that came out today, and I plan on doing a little bit more research on that before I do a video. So hopefully I'll get that video out to you tomorrow, talking about the recent developments with the technology inside Scorpio. Either way, though, that's a pretty strong statement from a developer calling the PS4 Pro a half-assed machine, saying that the Scorpio is going to be a true next-gen machine. So Microsoft has a lot to prove, and we're going to see if Scorpio can actually deliver enough to distinguish it from the PS4 Pro. Regardless, it's going to be a fun year for the console warriors. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.